The crystal wine glass shattered against marble with a sound that seemed to silence the entire restaurant. Deep crimson liquid spread across the pristine white tablecloth like spilled blood, droplets cascading onto the lap of the most powerful woman in the room. Time froze. Every head turned, and Marcus Chen's entire world collapsed in that single, devastating moment. His hands trembled as he stared at the ruins of what had been a perfect evening service, and possibly his career. The woman sitting before him wasn't just any customer. She was Victoria Ashford, CEO of Ashford Industries, a woman whose net worth exceeded the GDP of small countries, whose decisions moved markets, whose reputation for being ruthless in business was legendary. And he had just drenched her $15,000 dress in Bordeaux. "I'm so sorry," Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of his heart. "I'm so sorry." Marcus had been working at La Bellevue for 3 months, ever since his wife Sarah had passed away from cancer, leaving him alone with their 6-year-old daughter, Emma. The restaurant job was his third. He worked construction during the day, drove for a ride-share service in the early mornings, and waited tables 5 nights a week. Sleep had become a luxury he couldn't afford, not when Emma needed everything: her medication for asthma, her school supplies, the therapy sessions to help her process the loss of her mother. Tonight, exhaustion had finally caught up with him. He'd been on his feet for 19 hours straight. His vision had blurred for just a second as he'd reached over to refill Ms. Ashford's wine, and his coordination had faltered. The bottle had slipped. And now everything was ruined. The restaurant manager, Pierre, materialized beside him, his face purple with rage. "What have you done?" he hissed, grabbing Marcus's arm hard enough to bruise. "Do you have any idea who this is?" Victoria Ashford sat perfectly still, wine dripping from her silk dress onto the floor. Her expression was unreadable, her green eyes locked on Marcus's face. Around them, the other diners whispered and stared. Someone pulled out a phone to record. Marcus felt the hot sting of tears threatening to fall but fought them back. He couldn't cry. He'd learned not to cry anymore. Emma needed him to be strong. "I'll pay for the cleaning," Marcus said, even though he knew it was impossible. The dress probably cost more than he made in 6 months. Or the dress. "Whatever it takes. Please, You're fired," Pierre snapped. "Security will escort you out. We'll send you a bill for damages." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. Fired. That meant no income from the restaurant. That meant he'd fall behind on rent again. That meant Emma's medication might have to wait. That meant, no. Victoria Ashford's voice cut through the chaos like a blade through silk. She stood slowly, wine still dripping from her dress, and looked directly at Pierre. "He's not fired." The manager's mouth fell open. "But Ms. Ashford, your dress, the disruption, is none of your concern." Her voice was calm but carried an unmistakable authority. She turned to Marcus, and for the first time since the accident, her expression softened slightly. "What's your name?" "Marcus. Marcus Chen, ma'am." "Marcus, how long have you been awake?" The question caught him off guard. What? It's a simple question. When did you last sleep?" He swallowed hard. "I got about 3 hours yesterday morning. Maybe 2 hours the day before." Victoria nodded slowly, as if he'd confirmed something she already suspected. "And how many jobs are you working?" 3, ma'am. "But I need them all. My daughter," his voice cracked. "My daughter needs her medication. And the insurance doesn't cover everything, and I'm trying to save enough to move us out of the motel we're staying in because the mold is making her asthma worse, and—" "Stop." Victoria held up one hand. "Come with me." She walked toward the restaurant's private dining area, leaving Pierre and the gawking customers behind. Marcus followed, confused and terrified, his mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Maybe she was calling the police. Maybe she was going to sue him personally. Maybe this was where his life completely fell apart. Victoria closed the door behind them and gestured for him to sit. He remained standing, too nervous to move. She studied him for a long moment, and Marcus had the uncomfortable sensation of being X-rayed, of having every secret and struggle laid bare under that penetrating gaze. "My father was a waiter," she said finally. "Did you know that?" Marcus shook his head, stunned. "He worked 3 jobs too. Waiter, janitor, and night security guard. He did it for 20 years to put me through school, to give me opportunities he never had." He died of a heart attack when I was 23, 2 weeks after I graduated from business school. The doctors said it was exhaustion. That his heart literally gave out from years of stress and no rest. Her voice remained steady, but Marcus caught a flicker of old pain in her eyes. I built my company on the foundation of his sacrifice. Every decision I make, every dollar I earn, I think about him. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone, typing quickly. When I saw you tonight, before the wine incident, I saw him. The exhaustion in your eyes. The way you moved like every step hurt. The determination to keep going even when your body is begging you to stop. She looked up. I can't save my father. But maybe I can help prevent another little girl from losing hers. Marcus's throat tightened. I don't understand. Victoria showed him her phone screen. It displayed a bank transfer confirmation for $50,000, recipient, Marcus Chen. That's for immediate expenses. Your daughter's medication, a proper apartment, whatever you need right now. Marcus felt the room spin. I can't, that's too much. I couldn't possibly. You're not finished listening. Victoria's tone was firm but not unkind. I'm also offering you a position at Ashford Industries. Administrative assistant to start, with full benefits including premium health insurance that will cover your daughter completely. Salary of $75,000 annually, with performance bonuses. Normal hours, weekends off, and a company scholarship fund for Emma's education, from kindergarten through college. The tears Marcus had been holding back finally broke free, streaming down his face as the weight of 3 years of struggle suddenly, impossibly, lifted. Why? He managed to choke out. Why would you do this for me? Victoria's expression softened into something almost like a smile. Because kindness is the only currency that really matters. Because I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, and it means nothing if I can't use it to help someone who needs it. Because your daughter deserves to have her father alive and present, not work to death trying to survive. She paused. And because someone should have done this for my father, and no one did. I can't change the past, but I can change your future. Marcus couldn't speak. He could only nod as sobs shook his shoulders, not from grief this time, but from overwhelming relief and gratitude and disbelief that something good could actually happen after so much darkness. Victoria handed him a business card. Come to my office Monday morning. We'll handle all the paperwork. And Marcus, she waited until he met her eyes. Take the weekend off. All 3 jobs. Spend it with your daughter. That's an order from your new boss. The story spread like wildfire. Someone's recording from the restaurant went viral, showing not the accident but Victoria's compassion, her quiet act of radical generosity. News outlets picked it up. Social media exploded with praise and tears. But Victoria Ashford ignored the attention, as she always did. For her, it wasn't about recognition. It was about remembering a waiter named James Ashford, who had died too young, worked too hard, and loved his daughter enough to sacrifice everything. It was about honoring his memory by making sure another father didn't have to make the same sacrifice. And for Marcus Chen, holding his daughter Emma close that weekend in their new apartment, watching her breathe easily for the first time in months, it was about learning that sometimes miracles do happen, that sometimes spilled wine leads not to disaster, but to redemption. That kindness still exists in the world, waiting to catch us when we fall.